We are back with another Savage stream. Thanks for everybody tuning in and all that cool stuff. Had a little bit of a technical difficulty there because it's been a while since I streamed, so my stream key apparently changed, so I had to edit the Streamlabs OBS settings and all that good junk. So that always happens, or it seems to always happen. You don't test it. I don't test it before I go live, so normally it just works. It didn't, so I had to take a minute and let me turn down my background music. So I had to take a minute and figure that out. So anyway, we're up and running now. It looks like. I think that sound and everything looks okay. I think I'm good. So let's get going. Let's talk about some Bitcoin stuff. Man, unless you've been under a rock or an extended off-grid hiking trip or something like that, you've seen Bitcoin go on quite the run the past few months. What's causing this run? It's up about 111% in 3 months, and it's gone from 4,000 in March to over 23,000 now. That's insane. People always try to pick a single issue that causes something like this to happen. They like to pick a single thing, just one catalyst or one thing that causes it, and it's never the case. I guess it's just easier for them. I don't know. Maybe they're simpletons or something. I don't know what the deal is, but people like to point to one thing. I guess it's just simple minds. I don't know. But like I always like to say, it's never just one thing. In this video, we are going to talk about several factors that are causing the BTC value to increase. At least my opinion anyway. There's a lot of different factors, there's a lot of different things going on, but it seems like there are some things to kind of point to. One catalyst is the actual halving, and arguably the most important, and it's something that we tend to forget, right? But this happened just a few months ago. And that's the halving, where BTC mining rewards, which is basically the supply, are decreased every 4 years. And when the third halving occurred in May, on May 11th of this year, taking the every 10-minute mining rewards from 12.5 BTC down to 6.25 BTC. At the time, Bitcoin was around 8,500 USD value. So let's look at some history to help us see where this may go. The first BTC halving saw a 37x, right, between the first and second halvings, around 37 times. The second halving saw about a 16x between the second and the third. So if we kind of look at those two things now, BTC is still new, right? It's only 10 years old, and I don't know if you can really apply some definite math to it as far as what's going to happen between the halvings or the halvings. I hate halvings. The halvings. So I'm thinking that if we look at this 37x the first time, 16x the second time, if we look at this math through a historic, hopium type lens, maybe we'll see like a 7x. So we're looking at about 60K by the next halving. This is purely speculation. This is just me throwing some numbers around. I think it's realistic, but conservative estimate. I mean, there are people that are claiming, or not claiming, but estimating a lot more than just 60,000. I'm sticking with 60,000 before the next halving. That's my prediction. If BTC stays the same, if the demand stays the same, but the supply goes down, you can see how the BTC price and value should increase based on, just the basic economics of supply and demand. So there are, CIOs, there's other people that are claiming or saying that Bitcoin should be worth a lot more than that 60,000. I don't know. It's tough for me to, obviously I would love it. It would be freaking awesome. But I'm also a super realistic and rational dude. So I'm thinking 60K by the next halving. I hope I'm wrong. I'm hoping it's 1 million, or I hope it's 2 million, but I'm just kind of realistic, okay? I don't get all wrapped up in my feelings and figure out, hey, I really would like to see it do this, so I'm going to tell everybody that that's what it's going to do. I don't do that kind of stuff. So I'm being super rational, super realistic, and that is what I do. Let's see. So yeah, and I find it really humorous. This is really funny to me that some outlets expected the BTC value to increase like right after the halving, right? Like a day after. It doesn't work like that. The halving was May 11th. This article here from CoinDesk was on the 12th, So, and they're saying, it basically turns into a non-event for Bitcoin's price. Well, I mean, while that might be true, I mean, we all know that it's not going to be an immediate thing. None of this works like that. Everyone involved in Bitcoin, the miners, the investors, the traders, they all plan on the halving. They know it's coming. It's a known variable. They work into their operations and their calculations. It's not just some spontaneous event and a surprise that happens, right? It's a planned thing. We know when it's going to happen. The cool thing about Bitcoin is it empowers global economic sovereignty. I actually tweeted that out today. When it's that powerful and there's less of them created daily based on the halving, there's less supply, there's less inflation. So what typically occurs, what typically happens to the value of something that has lower supply. If it's rarer, then, or more rare, I don't know, is that the right way to say that? More rare? If it's more rare, then typically the value increases. And all these simple calculations are not including any other factors. I've just been talking about the halving itself, and based on a steady demand, right? And that's where that 60K prediction from me comes from, is just a steady demand based on the supply. But what we're seeing happen in this space is much more than that, which is super exciting because there's a lot of other things going on. It's not just the halving, right? So there's also huge organizations, huge companies getting involved in Bitcoin in ways that we might not have seen initially. We back in the day, 2017, we were talking about institutions, and whenever we were talking about that, typically we were talking about banks, right? The financial sector. But it doesn't have to be that. This was a good example, MicroStrategy. This is another reason that the BTC bull run is happening. It might be the reason, or one of the main reasons. It's basically, this bull run is large companies, aka also known as institutions, are showing much more interest and they're buying up tons of the supply. Sometimes more than what's mined in a day. Sometimes they're buying more than that. A couple of months ago, you had MicroStrategy here, an international business intelligence firm, invest $425 million into BTC. That 425 USD million is now worth, and that was just a couple months ago, is now worth over 875 million. That's a 106% increase. These companies are definitely putting their money where their mouth is. MicroStrategy CEO Michael Saylor, I think he's on my thumbnail too. I think that's who I ended up putting. I had Jack on there at first, but then I ended up replacing him with Michael Saylor. I think that was justified. He's been talking up BTC, saying it's digital gold, pretty common term there, and the best money out there available today. A really great quote from him. I don't 100% agree with it, but it is really cool that he said that Bitcoin is a bank in cyberspace, run by incorruptible software, offering a global, affordable, simple, and secure savings account to billions of people that don't have the option or desire to run their own hedge fund. Now, the only thing I disagree with is that he left out the fact that not everybody wants to be their own bank, which is fine, right? Not everybody wants to do that. Some people want that security of someone else holding their funds for them, which is not necessarily the goal of Bitcoin or cryptocurrency as a whole, but those people are out there, and we have to recognize that. We can't just leave those people out. Not everybody wants to worry about having their own private key and then losing it, and then now they don't have any money because they can't access it, right? Not everybody wants to do that. We should not fool ourselves into thinking that everybody wants to do that. They don't. So once you realize that, it helps with the adoption features, right? I've had several people ask me, some people that just know what Bitcoin is, not necessarily any more than that. They see it on CNBC, they see it on TV, they see people talking about it, and then they start asking questions like, hey, I saw that Bitcoin was up today or whatever, right? You know, and those are opportunities, but those people don't always want to be their own bank. We have to remember that whenever we're explaining it. I had someone ask me recently, and I kind of blew it. I did not do a great job of explaining, because they asked, like, what's the deal with Bitcoin? What is this, right? Now, I consider myself a decent teacher, right? But in this case, for whatever reason, I kind of blew it. I didn't really explain it the way I needed to explain it. I kind of got wrapped up in the tech a little bit too much. I need to get better at that. I need to get better at describing Bitcoin on a really fundamental level. But it comes from, you know what really helps is starting at what is money, right? So like, I think I've said this before. What I like to do is have the person ask them, like, okay, hey, do you have any cash on you right now? And then they open up their wallet and they pull out a $20 bill or a $5 bill or whatever, right? Most people don't carry cash, but if they do, that's just great. Because then you can say, okay, what gives that piece of paper that you're holding in your hand value? And it kind of makes them think, right? Most people don't think about it like this, but if they actually have to think about what gives it value, some people will actually say, well, it's backed by gold. Well, no, it's not, right? That hasn't been that way since 71 or 72, whenever that was. So no, it's not backed by anything. So once you get past that, you can say, hey, the only thing that gives that piece of paper you're holding in your hand value is that you and I and the bank agree that it has value, right? A financial institution, the government, agrees that it has value. With cryptocurrency, only you and I have to agree it has value. And if you start there, sometimes it can help progress the conversation, because they have to I'm not gonna lie, whenever I realized, that was like my what's that called, aha moment, you know, the epiphany moment, is whenever I questioned what is actual value, what gives something value, and whenever it dawned on me, like, holy crap, you know, I mean, all we're talking about is a dollar bill that's printed on it, or, you know, whatever, a dollar, a $5 bill, a $20 bill that's printed on a piece of paper, and the government and you and I agree that it has value, and that's it. That's the only thing that gives it value. And it's kind of an epiphany. It's kind of like a thing that happens. I can remember losing sleep over it, thinking about, oh my gosh, this is something revolutionary. I mean, it is really amazing that something else like this can have value. And it was definitely an aha moment for me. Anyway, all right, so I'm going off on a tangent. Let me get back on track here. So that was a good quote from him. I like that. And whenever you know, his millionaire and billionaire buddies see that he's making over 100% profit in a couple of months, I mean, don't you think that they're going to start asking questions? I mean, if you were a millionaire, a billionaire, company owner, whatever, CEO, wouldn't you be asking him questions? And you see a lot more people talking about Bitcoin nowadays. So that's good. You know, you've got athletes involved. You've got, you know, social media involved. So all this stuff leads to some positive price action, you know. Now MicroStrategy is really unique because they weren't done with that initial 425 million USD. They were not done at all. They also sold recently 650 million in convertible notes. And it looks like what they're going to do is they're going to take that 650 million and put it into Bitcoin, which would put it at over $1 billion in Bitcoin. So those are just, some examples. Here's some other examples of really large players getting involved in the whole thing here. You got Square investing 50 million in Bitcoin. I think that happened a while back. That's 4,709 Bitcoin. Huge amount. I'm going to show you a chart in a few minutes for all of the different treasuries. Basically, I'm calling them treasuries. Yeah, Bitcoin treasuries, different things, different companies that have a certain amount of Bitcoin. So it's kind of cool to see that. You even have Jim Cramer buying Bitcoin now. And if I remember correctly, now I don't watch a lot of TV, but if I remember correctly, he was against Bitcoin. If I remember right, at least the last time I heard anything from him, he was kind of like, I'm not really into Bitcoin. So seeing him switch gears like that and actually go in the direction of buying Bitcoin, that's kind of huge. And I know you guys you might be talking to me in chat or something. Let me make sure that the sound is good and stuff. Give me just a second here. Okay, so it looks like, I don't know if this is working or not, but hopefully it is. Let me know in the chat. I don't have any. Okay, so I've got 10 viewers. Okay, all right. It looked like 0 there, but I had to slide it over. All right, so hopefully this is working. What's up, Max Voltage? What is up, Bitcoin Jake? Thanks for tuning in, guys. All right, let's get back at it. So you got Jim Cramer actually buying some Bitcoin. That's cool. You also have, let's see here. I talked about Square. All right, so you also have Grayscale. Grayscale is another huge company. Grayscale Investments, they are managing Bitcoin and some other digital assets for their own clients. And Grayscale has surpassed 10 billion in managed digital assets together. Much of that is in the Bitcoin Trust, and that's about $11.6 billion with a B, billion with a B. That's 500,000 Bitcoin. I think it's 2%, right? I don't know. I haven't done the math, but I think they own about 2% of the current circulating supply, which is absolutely incredible. They also have, Grayscale also has an Ethereum trust worth more than probably close to 2 billion now, maybe even more than that. It also has trust for Ethereum Classic, believe it or not. They also have Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash. They've got a little bit in there, 58 million in Bitcoin Cash. They even do XRP, Stellar Lumens, and even Zcash. So you see, they really aren't too picky with their projects that they support. So it's kind of funny, but it is what it is. All right, so those guys are involved as well. You also have One River Hedge Fund. They're also buying Bitcoin, and I like this quote here. It says, "There is going to be a generational allocation to this new asset class. The flows have only just begun." I like that. I like that quote there. That is super cool. The flows have only just begun. Because you kind of look at how some people say how early we are. It is 10 years old. I struggle. I ain't gonna lie. I struggle with this all the time. And I think that there are a lot of other people in this space that struggle with it too, because I'll look at something from, say, 2009, 2010, a picture, a website, a movie, whatever, right? Whatever it is, an email, at work, whatever, from that time. And the only thing that I can think of is, why was I not buying Bitcoin right then, right? Why was I not involved in cryptocurrency back then? Because I think my first exposure, at least seeing it and at least hearing about it, would have been probably in 2011, 2012, whenever it first started getting on CNBC. I believe it was 2011, 2012, maybe 2012. That's whenever I first started getting some exposure to it. And I'm not going to tell you all the things that I used to say about it because it's ridiculous. But I regret that. I struggle with it a lot. Whenever I look back at those days, I'm like, man, what was I thinking? But I think a lot of people do that. I don't think I'm alone in that. So these large companies are, they're not keeping their Bitcoin buying secret. They are actually putting it out there, how much they own. This is that bitcointreasuries.org. They're being very vocal about it. They're supporting it. They're talking about it. They're talking with their customers about it. All this helps instill confidence for the investors and the public in general. All this helps exposure and adoption in ways that aren't always tangible, like you can't always touch it, but the evidence will be clear in the value in the days and years to come. So you can see here, MicroStrategy, these are all publicly traded. So this first top part here is publicly traded companies that are listed on NASDAQ or one of those exchanges. You got MicroStrategy at the top with 40,000 BTC. Sounds like a lot, but then you look down here at Block 1, which is private. They have 140,000 BTC. $3.2 billion worth. That is insane. So, yeah, lots of companies are getting involved. Some you haven't heard of, some I haven't heard of. The top three, we've probably all heard of those. But on down the line, I mean, these numbers are they get pretty small, but the value is way up there. And then you can see the percentage of, see, where was it? Oh, right here's the percentage of Bitcoin in circulation, I believe, that they own. So even one of the biggest publicly traded companies, MicroStrategy, that owns Bitcoin, is only sitting at about 0.19%. But if you look at Block 1, they have, okay, so yeah, here we go. This is what I was talking about earlier, Grayscale. Good grief. So Block 1 is at 147, that's not even 1%, or 140,000 BTC, that's not even 1%. But Grayscale has 546,000 BTC, and that is 2.6%. That is incredible. 12 billion worth. Crazy. All right. So anyway, yeah, that's cool stuff. I like seeing that. So some other things that have added to the whole adoption, the value, the value of BTC going up. Some of this can be attributed to on-ramps. You got Cash App also doing some pretty easy ways of buying Bitcoin. If I buy Bitcoin, I actually have a little bit of money coming out of my paycheck every month, every week, every 2 weeks that goes to Cash App, and then I'll choose. I mean, obviously it's just Bitcoin from there, but I will kind of look and see. Okay, so I want to buy Bitcoin, and then I want to put it in something else, whether it's Ethereum, whatever, right? So that's the way I do it. I take a little bit out every 2 weeks out of every paycheck, buy Bitcoin with it, and then invest it, or I'll leave it in Bitcoin. I don't know. It just depends on what's going on. Lately, I've been just buying Bitcoin and then leaving it in there as Bitcoin and not doing any type of trade. So this is another on-ramp situation with Cash App. Super cool. Low fees. I like buying through Cash App. It just makes more sense than like Coinbase, because the fees are a lot less on Cash App. You also have PayPal. They just recently gave 346 million users a way to buy Bitcoin. I think there was a little bit of a catch there in the beginning. They talk about it in this article. I think you could buy it but not sell it or something, right? So it wasn't like tradable or anything like that, which is kind of crazy. People know that we trade cryptocurrency, right? So that was kind of nuts. And then you also have Robinhood, that you can buy. I think you can buy Bitcoin through there as well. I'm not too familiar with Robinhood. So yeah, cool stuff. Some sidebars, some things that, some small factors, although way less of an impact on the overall value, but it does have to do with confidence in the space, right? So NiceHash back in 2017, December 6, 2017, they got a spear phishing attack. One of their employees gave up some information, logon information, that gave away, basically they got ripped off of, their customers, the people that used NiceHash, got 4,640 Bitcoin stolen from them. I think at the time it was something like $60 million worth. Now that is $106 million worth. But the good news is that they've actually, apparently, I wasn't one of the people I wasn't affected by this, wasn't using NiceHash at the time, but apparently they've reimbursed all of that, which is super cool. Good on them for that. That instills a little bit of confidence. You also have, you know, some prominent figures like Snowden. He tweeted out, you know, one word, one word, Bitcoin, right? And this was yesterday, whenever it was pumping pretty hard. So it's good to see, you know, privacy people, privacy icons, I guess you could say, you know, deal with Bitcoin. I think that in his movie or in his documentary, he mentioned using, it was either Monero or it might have been Monero. I can't remember if it was Monero or Zcash. It was one of the privacy coins for setting up the server that he shared the documents with the Guardian, the tabloid, right? Not tabloid. That's the wrong word. Guardian newspaper media outlet, right? So I can't remember what. I think it was Monero, maybe. But anyway, so it's cool to see him talk about Bitcoin. I mean, he's got a ton of followers, 4.5 million. One word, Bitcoin, boom, there you go. So then you get, you know, a little bit of pumpage from that, right? Not necessarily from that tweet, but all these different factors. Like I said at the top, it's never just one thing. It's a combination of a lot of different things. So we have to keep that in mind. Now, having said all this, I have to be super honest. Showing the quote value unquote of Bitcoin and other crypto is only needed to show the relationship and offer a little bit of perspective. I say this because in the end, you won't have to sell your BTC. So you won't have to trade this for fiat. That's the goal. Not to trade it for fiat. That's not what it was intended for. So keep that in mind. Whenever all this comes out, whenever all this gets to the end game, you won't have to sell it. So that's something to remember. All right, guys. So if you found this video helpful, I think I went a little bit over. I was a little bit late too. Let me check the chat, make sure. It says there's 10, 11 viewers in here. You guys are not chatting. I must be like totally into this tonight or something. I just got you. I've got a captive audience. They don't even want to chat or nothing. Normally there's like a whole bunch of chat going on over there, but whatever. It is what it is. That's actually, I guess that's a good sign. It says there's 11 viewers. That's cool. Nobody's chatting. That's cool too, I guess, because y'all are listening to me. All right, I'll deal with it. That's cool. All right, guys, if you found this entertaining or useful in any way, be sure to subscribe, like, and share, and click the notification bell so you don't miss out on anything in the future. Let's go ahead and let's keep the conversation going down in the comments or on Twitter. You know, hit me up over there. What do you think is causing the Bitcoin value to increase so drastically in the last few days? Let me know what you think. Litecoin's looking good too, but I'm not a Litecoin. I don't really like Litecoin that much, but it is pumping really hard, thanks to Nim and those guys and Crypto Mikkel. All right, guys, stay savage. I'll see y'all tomorrow night. Oh, tomorrow night is Crypto Fireball Friday, and I probably will be doing some. Let's have some drinks and let's talk some crypto. That'll be fun. And then on Saturday, I probably won't be doing anything on Saturday. But on Sunday is the previous month's mining rewards wrap-up thing that I do on the 20th of every month. So that'll be Sunday. So I'll see you guys there. Stay savage, everybody.